It's John Cole with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, we're going to compare two Tribest products against each other. I've been working with Tribest ever since I started my company, like in the mid-1990s, over 25 years ago now. They've been in business over 30 years at this point, and they continue to make some of the best juicers on the market. So in this episode, we're going to compare their newer Greenstar 5, which is their evolution of the twin gear technology that makes it easy to clean. If you guys want to learn all about the GS5, link down below to my original unboxing episode. Against the brand new contender just released last year, the all-new Solostar AI model that has a variable speed that senses what you're putting in there and has automatic presets to extract up to 15% more juice than other hopper-style juicers. By the same token, Tribest advertises the Greenstar 5 as getting up to 30% more juice than other juicers, such as the Slowstar AI. So in this episode, let's go ahead and compare the best two Tribest juicers against each other. So before I go on, I have to show you guys a special promotion Tribest is running right now. And if you've been waiting to buy one of these two juicers or any other Tribest product, you want to make sure you guys use the coupon code DJ right now at Tribest.com. Currently, Tribest has a 20% off promotion running only until July 22nd for Father's Day. This will save you guys $120 off the Slowstar AI, bringing that down to under $500 for the lowest RPM hopper style juicer on the market. And likewise, if you've been waiting for the Greenstar 5, you guys can save $170 off right now on the Greenstar 5 model. I don't want you guys to miss out on this special promotion. Once again, make sure you guys use my coupon code DJ. That'll save you guys 20% off. And when you use my promotional codes, Tribest will share me a small part of the sale so I can continue to make these educational episodes for you guys and show you guys the truth about juicers. So if I've helped you out with my videos, I encourage you guys to help me out by using that coupon code. It costs you nothing extra, and a matter of fact, you guys are going to save and get them the lowest price. So thank you so much. All right, so next up, on with this comparison. I guess the reason why I'm making this comparison personally is because I always see these Facebook or Instagram ads that Tribest is advertising their Greenstar 5 twin gear juicer as being more efficient as the hopper style juicers, which are the dominant selling machines on the market right now. The main reason why the hopper style juicers are outselling the Greenstar 5 is because of convenience and ease of use, right? You load up the hopper, shut the lid, turn it on, you walk away, you come back, you have your juice made, your pulp separated out, and with the Slowstar AI, unlike other hopper style juicers, you literally have over a minute of cleaning, about a minute and a half, 80 seconds I think it takes me to clean the Slowstar AI by just spraying off the screen and the juicer parts. No scrubbing is required. So this is completely amazing, and this has gotten more people to start juicing, right? I've sold Greenstar 5s and other Greenstar models over the years, and unless somebody is super dedicated and hardcore, you know, and into like cleaning the screen when they're done and pushing produce in, people unfortunately stop juicing. But if you guys are super motivated and want like a higher quality juice than any kind of auger style machine, the cleaning will be harder and it will take more time to juice, but the results will speak for themselves. The juice will be more dark, more rich, more extraction, because this is doing a better job on the grinding. So the choice is yours. If you're super motivated, maybe you have a health condition that you really want to ensure you guys get the most nutrients out of the juice, that's where the Greenstar 5 would come in. Otherwise, for most people that just want to get some healthy juice in and do it more often instead of not do it, because the cleaning process and overall the juicing process is more difficult, that's where the Slowstar AI comes in. So Tribest got you covered no matter which route you want to go. So nonetheless, let's go ahead and take each of these machines apart and show the guys how they exactly work, because while they are both juicers, they work in a little bit different ways. First, we'll start off with the Greenstar 5 because it's super simple, super easy. Basically, you have a hopper chute here. It's just basically a rounded chute. This is about 1.5 inches wide. So you need to pre-cut certain items such as fruits or even beets into smaller pieces and then actually push it in with a pusher. Next up, you have this contraption. So you need to basically unpull these little latches. They swing out of the way, and then you could take the juicer components out. This is the outlet casing. And then on the end of the outlet casing, you have the outlet adjusting knob that has a little spring on there. So what this spring does is keeps tension on the produce to basically keep it inside the machine to make sure it gets fully dried and extracted. That's why one of the reasons why this machine will get a higher yield than, say, the Slowstar AI. Next up, you have the juicing screen coming out, and with the Greenstar 5, you not only get this fine juicing screen, you also get a coarse screen, you get a closed blank and an open blank that can make things like sorbets, nut butters, mochi, and even the breadsticks. So you do have a lot more flexibility with the Greenstar 5 than the Slowstar AI due to the different screen options. That being said, this screen is, my opinion, a bear to clean because you got to scrub it with a brush and fibers of the produce will literally get stuck in here. You need to basically scrub it on the inside and out. Tribest does include a new scraping tool that does make the initial cleaning easier to scrape off the pulp, and then you go ahead back in and then scrub it off. Next up, we have the main component of the Greenstar 5. This is why I really love the Greenstar 5, guys, is because it's 100% stainless steel gears. So these 100% stainless steel gears grind up your produce, not touched by plastic during the grinding process. Only through the stainless steel gears is the produce grind up. Under this section, it has pocket recessed teeth, so even the longest celery fibers that can clog and jam vertical juicers won't mess up the Greenstar 5, along with, you know, other leafy vegetables that have long fiber strands. Even ginger is not a match for the Greenstar 5 due to the pocket recess. In addition, unlike other twin gear juicers, these gears never come too close to one another. On other twin gear juicers, they may be running too close, and this may shave basically metal into your juice. In addition, during this part, it gets ground up, and as it gets to this part, literally the juice is now squeezed out with this part of the gears to extract all the nutrition out of your juice. In addition, inside the gears, which you guys can't see, there's basically magnetic and bioceramic technology that is said to pull out more nutrition out of the produce. I haven't seen Tribest do a updated recent study on this. I saw a study they made like probably 30 years ago, 20 years ago now, that showed that yes, this does pull out more minerals than other juicers that were available at that time, but I really would love to see an updated study from Tribest proving that their technology does in fact pull out more nutrition as they say, and also they claim that your juice will store up to 3 days because of this extraction technology. That being said, while this extraction technology is good and may allow your juice to store longer, I still encourage you guys to remove the air when storing your juice. I'll put a link down below to the video where I discuss this in greater detail, because then with either of these two juicers, in my opinion, you could store your juice for up to 7 days. And of course, if you maybe store it my method without the air and then store it with this method, maybe you're going to even keep more nutrition in that stored juice. So yeah, these twin gears, I love them a lot. And then next up we have the standard main body casing housing. This housing is different than all the other predecessor Greenstar models on the market because on the end of this one it has basically a seal. So on previous generations of Greenstar juicers, this area on the motor would always get gummed up with pulp and juice. In some extreme cases, pulp could actually just kind of wreck the gaskets and all this kind of stuff and wreck the seals. So now they have this gasket here, so this will not happen. So if you guys are considering a twin gear, actually at this point I would only recommend the Greenstar 5 because of this. This will ensure that your motor lasts much, much longer. All right. So that's how the Greenstar 5 works. You got all these pieces to clean. The biggest problem for me is this juicing screen. Next up, let's go ahead and take apart the Slowstar AI and share with you guys how that works. So we're just going to take off all the juicer parts. And you can see the first part that comes off is the hopper. So the hopper is basically nothing more than a tube. As you guys can see, I can see you through there. This is actually 1.5 liter hopper, whereas the feed chute is 1.6 inches. So, and this is a lot wider, so you don't need to necessarily pre-cut the items like apples or beets. There's a processing blade here that I'll show you guys in a minute that I'll basically pre-cut and feed the produce in. That being said, Tribest does recommend pre-cutting certain things like celery, leafy greens that have long fibrous strands that their processing blade may not cut up properly, so you should pre-cut them to a smaller size so you can, number one, fill this hopper up more, and number two, not have any clogs or jams while juicing. But yeah, this is a brand new technology that allows you to fill up the hopper, shut the lid, walk away, let the juicer do all the work without you, whereas in the old-fashioned style Greenstar, you're sitting there and pushing each produce item in. And I'll be timing when I juice the same amount of celery in both machines so you guys can see the process. All right, next up on the bottom of this hopper, you guys can see it looks like that. There's an auger in there, and this auger is 100% stainless steel, so there's not many hopper juicers that have 100% stainless steel auger that looks nice and aggressive. That basically goes around and pre-cuts and chops things up before it drops in to the machine. And then as it drops in, you guys can see the produce is crushed between the auger and the juicing screen right here. And so basically the produce is crushed and ground up between two plastic, right? This is really hard plastic, durable plastic, you know, but it's not stainless steel. You know, I feel safe with this plastic. This is like the GE Ultim plastic. It's a super strong plastic that NASA even uses on the space station because it is that durable, all right? So then as the auger basically spins around, it basically crushes up the produce between the auger and the juicing screen. And then out of these little holes here, and especially when you light it up in here, there's little slits, basically, instead of a juicing screen, that the juice comes out between the slits, right? So this more easily allows you to do easier cleaning, because when you're done, you just spray this off. There's no scrubbing, you know, there's no like pulp that gets stuck in these slits because they're nice and big. I could just spray it off inside here, and you're done cleaning. So, you know, while this could take you 5-6 minutes to clean, this one takes me 90 seconds to clean. So, you know, if cleaning is the reason why you're not juicing, then clearly the Solostar AI version is the way to go between these two machines. That being said, there are some nooks and crannies in here, although I've never brushed this out. I've only ever sprayed it down. It looks pretty clean so far. This does have a spout cap, so you can close this to collect the juice inside or make nut milks, which I don't necessarily recommend. And then on this side, this is where the pulp comes out, and on this you have a little latch on the bottom that you could unpop, and then you guys can see we have this little orange flap. So this flap kind of accomplishes the same thing as that spring. That being said, the spring tension is a lot more powerful and puts a lot more back pressure on the pulp than this little flap that basically you can kind of push down so the pulp kind of runs out because of this flap, although it does keep it in there a little bit longer to get a little bit more dry. So yeah, that's the main bowl. This is the juicing screen. Once again, no holes on the juicing screen. So the Slowstar AI is much easier to clean than the Greenstar 5. So let's go ahead and assemble both units. So to assemble the Slowstar AI, just take the juicing screen, drop it in, take the auger, drops all the way down, and then we're going to go ahead and take the hopper, and we're going to spin that on, lock it in place, and then you could basically take this and drop it in place, and if you've assembled it correctly, the machine should turn on. And there you go, it's running. So yeah, it runs at a low and slow between 32 RPM and 60 RPM. Since we got it running, let's go ahead and do a decibel test real quick. We're averaging out at 64 decibels for the Slowstar AI. All right, next up, let's go ahead and assemble the Greenstar 5. So we first need to take the main feed chute casing, drop that in there. Then we're going to take the gears. This is the most important part on the gears. You do need to line up the gears. There are 2 dots on one gear, 1 dot on the other, and you want to basically make a triangle out of them, pretty much like that. And then you can insert the gears into the main housing there. You may need to spin it as you're turning it in so it fully seats back. Then you're going to go ahead and put the juicing screen on there. Then you're going to put the outlet casing on there. Then you're going to go ahead and take these latch arms and then put them on and then latch it back in. Make sure your outlet adjusting knob is fully tight if you are juicing roots or other greens or wheatgrass. If you're juicing fruits, then you may need to remove it totally or use the fruit attachment spring. And then you're going to go ahead and put the lid on. And if you've assembled this correctly, the machine will turn on. And then we're going to go ahead and do a sound test on this one. I mean, this one's a solid 66, guys, on the decibel meter. Pretty much these are both slow juicers. The Greenstar 5 runs at about 110 RPM, so it can run like 4 times faster than the Solostar AI. And the thing with the RPM, the higher the RPM, the more oxidation that can happen with your juices due to the air being pumped into the juices. This is why I don't recommend using a high-speed machine that can run in excess of 10,000 RPMs. That being said, if you're juicing root vegetables in this machine, very little oxygen is put into the juice because the roots basically encompass all the grinding area between the gears. But if you're juicing straight wheatgrass or straight leafy greens in the Greenstar 5, then literally as your greens are getting juiced, it's kind of sucking in air, and then you're going to have a more foamy juice because of this. So this is something you should consider. Like, that's why I like to say if you're juicing roots, basically the Greenstar is going to kick butt over hopper juicers easily, or vertical juicers. If you're going to juice leafy greens only, then, I would actually probably choose a Slowstar AI running at 32 RPM. That's going to put less oxygen and create less foam during the juicing process, although it may not grind up those greens quite as well as the Greenstar 5. If you're going to juice roots with greens, then I'm going to say go with the Greenstar 5. That's going to do a lot better when you combine the roots with the greens, because the roots, as you alternate feeding items, it's going to take up the space and then not put as much oxygen or foam into the juice. And if you're going to juice fruits, like 100% fruits, do yourself a favor, don't get the Greenstar. This style machine really needs some hard fibrous material to kind of get it to work properly, and fruits will juice a lot better only if you're juicing them alone in the Slowstar AI. That being said, always select the firmest fruits for juicing. And of course, if you're just doing a mixed recipe with greens, leaves, and fruits, rotate the ingredients, and they're going to do great in the Greenstar 5. All right. So I guess with that, let's go ahead and juice some celery today in both machines, timing it so you guys can see how long it takes to juice in each one of these machines and how much more juice the Greenstar will actually get over the Slowstar AI. That is actually a lot easier to use. All right, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. So we got 1, 3, 3, 4 on that scale, 1, 3, 3, 4 on that scale. Looks like we have a fair fight, so let's get juicing. All right, guys, so first up, we're going to go ahead and juice in the Greenstar 5, and I'm just going to go ahead and push each piece of celery in with a wooden pusher, which is my preferred pusher for the Greenstar 5. Let's go ahead and hit the start button there and turn on the machine and get juicing. So I always put in the small side first. And it goes in really easy. I can almost push it with one finger, and then as it goes down, I push with the pusher, all right? So it's gonna take me a little bit of time to manually juice all this celery. We have the spout cap on the fullest, tightest pressure when you start. There may be a little bit of celery juice coming out of that until the pulp starts to come out. But I think in order to save you guys some time, let's go ahead and speed this part of the video up. Guys, last piece of celery going in the Greenstar 5, working without a problem. As you guys can see, it's worked really well. We made a ton of juice. Not a whole lot of problem. I mean, if you don't have a lot of arm strength, then this may not be the one for you. Pushing celery is relatively easy. Pushing in carrots, hard root vegetables can be much more difficult in the Greenstar 5. So this is something that you should consider. That being said, it worked great, and it took a total of 4 minutes. basically to juice all that manually, and I was working basically the whole entire time pushing each produce item in. Next up, let's go ahead and juice in the Slowstar AI to show you guys the different process. So in the Slowstar AI, we'll have to actually pre-cut the celery into smaller pieces so we could most effectively fit it into the hopper. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and start the time and start pre-cutting because that is part of the actual juicing time. I do want to let you guys know that when I did use the Greenstar, you know, as the timer was running, I'm actually pushing in the whole time. And with the Slowstar AI, maybe I got to do a bunch of cutting at a certain point, fill up the hopper. Then I could basically let the hopper empty and run on its own without me. And then I could basically just come and fill up the rest of the hopper. So basically the amount of work you'll be doing for your juice will be significantly less in the hopper style juicer such as the Slowstar AI. Alright, so I guess let's go ahead and hit the start button and let's get chopping up some of this celery. Let's see if I can chop it all in one swoop. Maybe we'll do half of it in one swoop here. I recommend you cut it into like 1 inch to 2 inch pieces. 1 inch pieces would be best. Smaller is always better than longer, but 1 inch pieces will be great. I mean, that took me like 20 seconds, and after I cut this stuff up, I'm basically just gonna go ahead and drop it in the machine. And that filled up most of the hopper there. We maybe could have fit a little bit more, but that's good. We're going to shut the machine. We're going to go ahead and press the celery button, right? Because it's optimized to juice celery. Then we're going to go ahead and press the start button. And as you guys can see, the machine comes on before I know it. The celery is getting juiced without me. As with the Greenstar, I have to push in each stalk of celery, which I'm so over. I pretty much love the hopper style machines that take out a lot of the work. I guess in any case, we're going to go ahead and speed this part of the video up for you guys and come back at you when the Slowstar AI is done juicing. Alright guys, so you guys can see with the celery mode on the Slowstar AI that Tribest claims to have up to 15% more juice than other hopper style juicers because it is optimized at the right RPM, which I would say is a lower RPM in this case. Looks like it did a great job. Always on any juicer, you want to make sure the pulp stops coming out and it still looks like it's moving a little bit and the juice is stopped dripping out of the machine. I guess we'll give it a few more seconds, and I do see a bit of celery that has not yet gone into the juicer, so it looks like it just got that last piece of celery in the hopper. And while this juicing time did take longer, and it's still working, right, the main thing about this is that while it took longer to juice, right, you didn't have to do anything. Like I literally left and started washing up some of the dishes I made. So this can save you time to allow you to do other things more important in your life than sit there and push each produce item in to the juicer. So I'm going to call it. Looks like it's done now. So it looks like it took about a total of 7 minutes and 28 seconds. And now we could go ahead and hit stop on the Slowstar AI. Once you hit stop, it'll actually auto reverse and then speed up for a second to try to get any last bits of juice out. And then we are done. We could go ahead and close that spout cap. And we could see the juice we made in both juicers. Look at that. Looks pretty similar. This juice is a bit darker. Maybe that's because it's maybe a little more oxidized. But what I want to do next is make sure we have a fair fight. So we're going to go ahead and strain both juices to make sure we have the same amount of juice, because I'm sure the Slowstar AI is known to put a bit more pulp into the juice than the Greenstar Pro. So let's go ahead and pour this juice through the sieve. Alright, not a whole lot of pulp until we get to the very bottom, and then we have a nice, healthy pulp patty. So it looks like we got all the juice out of that. Next up, let's go ahead and pour the juice out of the Greenstar 5. It's a lot lighter color. In my opinion, that's because it is oxidized less, and there's basically barely any pulp in this juice, guys. So this is quite impressive. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and shake down each of the sieves to make sure that we have the pulp as dry as possible, and only the pulp is left in the sieve. It did look like in this instance, the higher RPM of the Greenstar 5 did put a little bit more air into the juice based on the amount of foam at the top that I'm seeing. All right, so once we got all this strained out, let's go ahead and get the scale out once again and see how much pulp was put into each juice. All right, first up, we're gonna go ahead and check the pulp from the Greenstar 5. Barely any pulp, guys. 7.9 grams of pulp. That's impressive. So if you're looking for a pulp-free juice the first time, then the Greenstar 5 may be the way to go. That being said, the easy solution on the Solostar AI is just have a sieve to catch the pulp as it comes out of the machine, and then you have basically the same amount of pulp in there. That being said, these days I do recommend and encourage people to drink the pulp in the juice. Most Americans are fiber deficient, not including enough fiber in their diets. And while we are still removing the majority of the fiber, so this will increase the nutrient bioavailability and absorption of the nutrients in the juice. Having this much extra fiber in your juice is not going to compromise that. It's probably going to help you out because there's still some nutrients locked in that fiber. And of course, the fiber is going to act as a good prebiotic for our guts. All right, so let's go ahead and zero this scale back out. So we're at 0 once again. Let's go weigh this pulp. So once again, 7.9 versus, wow, 30. That's approximately like almost a 3-fold increase in pulp that was put into the juice from the Slowstar AI. So of course, this was faster to juice. This was less work to juice, although this did put almost 3 times more pulp in the juice, which may be a good thing if you want to drink the pulp, or if you don't want it, once again, just use a sieve to remove it. All right, guys, next up, let's go ahead and compare the yield to see how much juice each juicer made. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do a close-up on the juices. As you guys can see, it is a close race. Over on the Greenstar 5, looks like we just made about 900 milliliters of juice, and over on the Slowstar AI, so close, man. The yield after removing the pulp, I'll call that like 890 milliliters of juice. What I really want you guys to look at, because the juice yields are about the same, is the color and the vibrancy of the juice. You know, this is where the Greenstar 5 basically wins. To me, the Slowstar AI, the juice looks a bit more ruddy. Like that to me looks like it's slightly oxidized, even though it ran at 32 RPM. Looks a bit more ruddy, maybe due to the gears of the Greenstar 5 with the magnetic and bioceramic technology, or maybe grinding a bit more, release more antioxidants. The juice looks a lot more vibrantly colored, something that is more appealing to my eye personally, like a nice bright green versus, you know, something that maybe is a bit more oxidized over on the Slowstar AI. But that's my initial assessment by looking at it. But let's go ahead and do a taste assessment next. All right, guys, so I'm really impressed with the Slowstar AI. Tribest maybe putting Tribest out of business because their Slowstar AI has almost caught up to the twin gear technology when juicing the celery. I would also extend this kind of similar test to leafy greens. That being said, if you are juicing something like carrots, then the Greenstar still will basically pull ahead of the Slowstar AI because Slowstar AI technology is not as good as grinding up the root vegetables, although it does a sufficient job. And of course, if you're juicing more fruit heavy, then of course you want to go with the Slowstar AI, because fruits don't typically juice as well in the Greenstar series of juicers because the fiber is so soft and it tends to back up on you and basically can get you frustrated. All right, so let's go ahead and taste test these juices. You know, despite there being less air bubbles on the top of the Slowstar AI, the juice is notably a little bit darker green. So we're just going to go ahead and pour a little bit of the juice out. I mean, that's a sweet celery juice. I taste a little bit of bitterness. Next up, let's go ahead and taste the Greenstar 5 juice. A lot more vibrant colored. Wow, that's a sweeter juice to me. Like, I'm not really getting those hints of bitter. Those hints of bitter, to remind you guys, is probably the polyphenol oxidized enzyme that's oxidizing the polyphenols that makes the juice a little bit darker. Despite having a little more air in there, this is kind of hard for my brain to wrap around because usually air equals oxidation, but maybe those ceramic and magnetic gears in there help it to preserve it longer. Plus, maybe there's just more nutrients in there in the first place to protect the nutrients from degrading. So this is quite interesting. The taste test. If I had to say one tasted better than the other, I'm about to actually say the Greenstar 5 juice tasted better than the Slowstar AI. Next up, let's go ahead and compare the pulps that were made in each juicer. Once again, this is quite interesting. Can you guys see the difference between the pulps? One is darker, one is lighter, right? The one that is lighter, in my opinion, is lighter because this machine literally pulled out and ground up the fibers more effectively and extracted more nutrition out. And also the pulp is a bit drier. So this is why the pulp is more light in color, because the green chlorophyll pigments were literally pulled out by the juicer, put into the juice, whereas this pulp is a little bit more greenish, maybe more juice in there, and of course a little bit more wet. But of course the Slowstar AI did quite a good job as well. So if you squeeze both pulps, I mean they seem to be fairly even on the wetness. But yeah, just the extraction level of the Greenstar Pro did a much better job grinding up those fibers, of the celery than the Slowstar AI. So that's quite impressive, the results we got, So I pose the question to you, right? What is most important to you, right? Do you want to store your juices longer? And based on this test, I mean, just coming right out of the juicer right afterwards, this juice looks more vibrant. And if I sucked out the oxygen when storing it, link down below to how I store juices, then it would store easily for longer. So maybe that was magnetic and bioceramic gears do make a difference, and maybe because they're already grinding and extracting better, more nutrition, there's more antioxidants, so it doesn't oxidize as much. And then over on the Slowstar AI, of course, the yield was almost as much as this machine, but the main difference is how much work you had to do. While we did juice faster in this machine, the whole time I'm sitting there pushing produce in. On this machine, I have to pre-cut things for, 30 seconds, drop it in, shut the lid. I literally can walk away, let the machine do the juicing. As the hopper empties, I then load it up one more time, shut the lid, walk away, and let the juicer finish off all the juicing without you. So, what is more important to you? If you want to get every last bit of nutrition with a Tribest juicer, clearly the Greenstar 5 is the way to go. It gets a more vibrant color juice, a juice that tastes better, and a little bit more yield to boot. So for those of you guys that don't care about getting the most nutrition out and getting the highest yield, spending some time juicing, and are more lazy like me, right? These days I don't really use the Greenstar 5 too often, except in videos like this. I use a hopper style juicer because it makes my job of juicing a lot easier, and able to drink juice more often than less often because of the whole cleaning process and the whole process of making juicing. You literally load up the hopper, shut the lid, walk away, the juice juices without you, and when you're done, you could just take this machine apart, spray it off, and in about 80 seconds in my testing, it's clean and you are done. And meanwhile, you have almost as much as juice as the more expensive machine. That being said, if you guys want to get the best deal right now on either of these two juicers, make sure you guys use the coupon code DJ at Tribest.com. Right now, that'll save you guys $120 off the Slowstar AI or $170 off the Greenstar 5, getting you guys the lowest price. And remind you guys, both these machines have a full 15-year warranty backed up by Tribest. If I personally had to choose one of these machines between the two, although this one did make a higher quality juice, this one, made almost as much juice. This was a lot easier to use. For me personally, in this test, although this made a higher yield, I personally would choose the Slowstar AI because it actually gets me to juice more often because the process is a lot easier. I don't have to sit there and push each produce item in. Yes, I am sacrificing some nutrition, some juice quality. The yield is almost as good, but it's a lot easier to use, and especially now that I'm done juicing, it's a lot easier to clean too. This will get you to juice more often and more regularly. That way you'll have the benefits of drinking more, especially vegetable juices such as the celery, the carrots, and other leafy greens, more often. Plus, of course, this has more flexibility to juice straight fruits if you want to, such as straight bell peppers, straight tomatoes, straight cucumbers, which are some of the non-sweet fruits that I encourage and recommend you guys juice instead of the sweet fruits that can remove the fiber and concentrate the sugar. So once again, guys, for the lowest price, only until June 22nd, make sure you guys use that coupon code to save the most money at Tribest.com. Tribest will also share with me a small part of the sale so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys to juice even amounts of produce and show you guys the actual real world results without any kind of marketing fluff that a company is going to try to tell you to sell you more. So did the Greenstar that Tribest advertises as making up to 30% more make 30% more than the Solostar AI, their latest entry in the juicer market? It absolutely didn't. What did it make? It made 2% more juice, or some small amount that, in my opinion, is insignificant. 10 milliliter difference is not significant, guys. So yeah, some of the advertising, I encourage Tribest to, create more consistent, accurate advertising and can claim, do testing on what juicer is 30% more, one of those cheap ones from Amazon. Of course, I only recommend high quality juicers that are using the best materials so that you guys have the safest juice, and more importantly, a juicer that will last instead of end up in an American landfill. Both these machines have a full 15-year warranty backed up by Tribest. So I want to thank you guys who will use that coupon code, once again, DJ, to save the most money. This also allows me to buy my produce and take my time out of my day to make these videos for you guys, where I share with you guys the truth about the machine. So if I've helped you out at all, help me out and use that coupon code. Not only will you get the lowest price, but you'll allow me to continue to make these educational videos for you guys where I share the truth with you guys. That's so important to me in this world where there's so many people moving their mouths and saying things that are totally not true. At least I could share with you guys the truth about juicers. So thank you guys so much for staying to the end and watching this episode and using my coupon codes on the Tribest juicers or other machines should you buy another brand. So if you guys enjoyed this episode today, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, more importantly, share this with other people that are looking to buy one of the best Tribest juicers at the lowest price right now on sale through May 22nd. Of course, after the May 22nd date, my coupons will still work to get you a minimum of 10% off as well. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss on my new and upcoming episodes. I'll be coming every 5-7 days. You never know where I'll show up. What I'll be learning, what new juicers I'll be unboxing, new juicers I'll be comparing each other, or equipment I'll be comparing and sharing with you guys so you guys can process your fruits and vegetables in the best ways possible. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come. And finally, be sure to hear past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 900 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about the different equipment to process fruits and vegetables and retain the most nutrition so that you guys could have the greatest health benefit. I'll put links down below to my favorite videos I made past with the Greenstar 5 as well as the Slowstar AI juicer. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.